Hi everyone, welcome to another episode of Ask, Learn, Grow, the show where the Reef team answer questions and share updates and insights from the digital marketing industry. I'm joined today with our head of SEO, Ishita Sadev, and we're going to be talking about brand awareness as it pertains to the customer conversion journey. Ishita, do you want to start by sort of introducing this topic and your advice on what you're going to be talking about?
Sure, why not? So I've chosen brand awareness as a topic because, in my opinion, it's the first stage of the marketing funnel, and from there you can funnel your prospects towards the research and the decision-making stage, and eventually towards conversion. So, in my opinion, brand awareness is highly crucial in the customer conversion journey, and I always see brand awareness in the context of SEO, and where SEO plays an important part in building brand awareness. And there's no denying that SEO and content marketing is a long-term investment that doesn't lead to an immediate conversion. So today I am going to share some helpful advice that might be helpful when you're trying to use SEO strategy to incrementally build brand awareness. So I've got a couple of helpful tips. So I'll start with the first one being, firstly, you need to define your brand identity, values, and the why behind your brand. Make sure that the brand identity is consistent across all channels and touch points. Sometimes I've found that clients they struggle to define the why behind the brand. So in my opinion, that is really important. And once you define the why, it is very important that it is equally important to ensure that it is well communicated throughout your messaging. So once you've done that, you need to make sure that you're giving your brand a strong personality. So once you've understood why the brand exists, its identity and beliefs, you then need to create content that reflects your company's values and beliefs. And always remember that people connect to the people and things that they believe in, and everyone wants to do business with companies and brands that value them and makes them feel good. Another strong advice would be that you should. I would strongly suggest that you need to invest in content marketing, and the best ways to achieve brand awareness, in my opinion, is through content marketing. So you should focus more on top of the funnel, creating more top of the funnel content, and mainly focus on creating content that people are looking for in the early stages of the customer journey. Another important advice is to always integrate your SEO with other channels, and social being one. So whenever you're creating new content, just make sure that you're using your social media channels and you're promoting that content constantly. You can also use a combination of organic social posts and sponsored posts. And that's where what I've realized is that the more active you are on your social media channel, and the more you're tying your content with using social media as a channel to amplify the content, the more wider the audience you can capture. Another important thing for SEO and building brand awareness is that you need to use strategic link building. With that, what I mean is that you need to make sure that you are focusing heavily on building high quality backlinks. It can be via content marketing, or you can focus on the easy ones, which is brand mentions, and you can also invest your time and effort on more long-term strategic outreach campaigns. So go heavy with keeping quality as a measure compared to quantity as a metric. Another one is you need to capture more organic real estate. And with that, you can look at things like featured snippets, improving, like getting more traction on knowledge graphs, improving your local visibility via gaining more placements in local packs, and getting more placements in people also ask section. So all of these new areas have shown to drive higher click-through rates, which is great for generating traffic and brand awareness. And the last one is you need to track your brand awareness. So what gets measured gets managed, and that's where I am of a strong believer that you need to measure the true ROI of your brand awareness.
Okay, just before we talk about measuring brand awareness, because you give quite a lot of good information in that section that we've just been talking about. So just to recap, make sure, of course, you've got a strong brand identity, you know who you are, what the values are, why you do what you do, and the purpose, and the way that you want to communicate. With that in place, obviously, content marketing is going to be key to reach the right people who are very early in the customer conversion journey. And if in content marketing at that stage, it's sort of a good sort of 3-word slogan that I find helps in terms of creating content to attract people at that very early stage is educate, entertain, or impact. When I say impact, it means make them feel something emotionally. And you connect with them, educate them, entertain them, or make them feel something, connect with them. They're going to connect with your brand. The right people, if your message is on point, they're going to connect with your brand. And then you're going to start bringing them into your ecosystem, your digital marketing ecosystem. And then obviously you're going to nurture that sort of know, like, and trust factor, which is going to impact so many different things along the customer conversion journey and move people along. And specifically on the SEO side, which you mentioned as well, following on from the content, link building, that's going to improve your off digital PR in terms of acquiring links strategically and properly. Obviously that's going to lift your overall search presence anyway. And some good tips. So that brings us on to, if you're doing all that and you've got all that in place, how do we measure the success of it? Really good question. So I'll hand back over to you, Ishita, please. Shed some light on that one.
Sure. See, like I said, you need to measure. So you need to have some baseline figures in mind. And in my opinion, it's really important to measure brand awareness. Sometimes what I've found, it can be tricky, but there are easy, tried and tested ways by which you can measure brand awareness. So apart from the usual or the default metrics that you can track, which is your traffic figures, your rankings, you can look at things like direct traffic versus organic traffic improvements, unique users, views and impressions. You can also look at things like positive brand mentions by your customers and influencers. So if you're able to answer this question, that are your customers becoming your brand advocates and spreading a positive word, you can measure that whether your brand is making a positive impact or not. Another metric that is important is measuring brand recall. So here you should be able to answer things like, how many people in your target audience know about the brand? Is your brand top of mind when consumers are ready to research and make a purchase? Or you can also look at things like, is your customer more likely to make repeat purchases with the least hesitation? So if you can answer these questions and use maybe like surveys, so you can create surveys in the form of brand recall tests, and you can calculate what is the true brand recall value of your brand awareness activities that you're doing.
Some of the advertising platforms have brand recall metrics in it as well, if you want to look at it in isolation in that respect too. So combining those is a good thing.
Another interesting metric is the good old organic visibility. So measuring how you're doing in terms of keyword rankings. And here the thing is that the higher you show up in search results, the higher your brand awareness will be for your target audience. So you should be able to answer things like is your business visible on page 1 in organic search for key terms? So here you should not just focus on brand terms, but also on your non-branded visibility. Another good one is your social listening and looking at how much reach you're getting, how many like social mentions you're getting online. So here I feel that it's very important to keep an eye on online mentions of the brand, because you need to be nimble in reacting, responding, and managing the engagement. So you can look at things like social followers, how many likes, how many new likes you're getting, comments, shares, and the overall engagement. So social listening is very important. The last one, which is important for SEO, of course, is your backlinks. So here it's very important to monitor how you're doing, how your backlink profile is going. Like I said, you need to focus more on quality rather than quantity. And I see backlinks as a healthy measure of like endorsements. I see it as endorsements, like how many endorsements you're getting online, and like other sites mentioning about you. So always go for quality rather than quantity, and use that as a measure.
Great. Are there any tools to help measure this? Because I think trying to do it without the right tool set might be quite tricky.
Good question. See, yes, I use a combination of manual and automated tools. So there are plenty in the market. There are free ones, there are pro ones, paid ones. It totally depends on which tool set works for you. So for me, the most important ones are when I look at organic traffic. Yes, I use a combination of Google Analytics, Google Search Console, because it gives me a good insight about where the branded search terms are heading compared to the non-branded searches. I look at things like organic clicks, impressions, average position improvements, CTR improvements. So those are good tools to help just to gauge where your organic traffic is heading. For brand mentions, you can use tools like there's mentions, of course. There's another one called as brand mentions. The name says it all. So these tools will give you instant access to mentions about your brand across the web. I also rely on Google Alerts because it's free and easy to use. So I like setting up Google Alerts and getting notified when anything about the brand that I'm tracking gets indexed. For social media monitoring tools, again, I use a good combination of tools. You can use the same tools as the brand mentions. So mentions, there's another one called as social mentions, there's BuzzSumo. All these tools will give you interesting info about reach, the top keywords that people are using on social media to find you, hashtags, and the best part is few tools also give you sentiment analysis. So whether the sentiment online on social media about your brand is positive, negative, or neutral. Yeah.
So there's a range of these tools as well. They go from sort of like enterprise level, which obviously have a higher price tag, which they'll kind of do all of these things on quite a powerful level, and then there's like a sliding scale of right down to sort of like a suite of smaller, less expensive tools, which might do sort of one or two of the things, and then you'll kind of build a bit more of a stack around it. Like you said, the future, it depends on your needs as to what the right tech stack is for you.
Yes, true. Another one is, like I mentioned, brand awareness surveys. So if you want to conduct brand awareness surveys and you have the resource and the time and energy to do those, then you can use either the free ones, which is your Google Forms. It's free and easy to use, or you can choose some fancy tools also, Typeform, if you want to add some fun. So with Typeform, it's quite an interesting tool. It's quite an interesting platform, and it's got an extensive list of attractive and engaging service templates to choose from. It totally depends what your intent is and how far during that research phase you want to go. So you can pick between either free ones or the paid ones, dependent on your requirements. The last one for backlinks, Everyone is familiar of these tools, which is your Moz, SEMrush, Ahrefs for backlink monitoring. So there are different tool sets to measure brand awareness. And like I said, it's totally dependent on your KPIs and what you're trying to achieve.
Great stuff. Thanks for sharing all this information, Ishita. That kind of wraps up today's call. So if you've got any questions about this or any digital marketing related topic, send them in and we're always happy to help. If you'd like to put a burning question or problem to the team, please send those in too, and we'll see what we can do. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to be notified of when the next video is available. Apart from that, thanks all for watching and enjoy the rest of your day.